There it goes. All right, I'll get this eventually.
Shut up and sit down.
It's Coffee with the Coaches, coming to you from the mega desk. Hit the bell page.
I was waiting for the episode number.
Oh, yeah. Episode number 23. I'm all off my game. I already screwed up this recording like 3 times. Third time's the charm. So, my name's Michael.
My name's Paige.
And we've got a super special guest today. We got Misty Chilton.
Woo!
Misty, welcome to the mega desk.
Yay, I'm excited.
So, I know that you say, I think you've actually listened to a lot of our podcasts.
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of feedback from you on the different things that we've talked about. So now that you're here, what do you think?
It's impressive. I really like this setup.
Would you say that this desk looks mega?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
This is super impressive.
Yeah, it is. All of it's really nice, guys. I'm impressed.
well, thanks. I was trying to make this a thing where I told some ridiculous story about the mega desk every time we got on here, but I don't think Paige likes the idea.
I feel like every time someone comes in, they're like, "Oh, this is the desk."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the point.
And
You gotta
Michael's
hype
like,
it
"Here
up.
it is, here it is," and they're like, "Okay."
Yeah.
I like silly stuff like that. Sorry, y'all. Hey, let's start this thing with a dad joke. You know how we do.
We're gonna have to start and then hit Misty again and then hit her. I think she's got like 5 of them that she's got to run through and
Oh,
tell.
bro, I got a list like as long as my arm right now.
I'm still trying to like scrounge up some more because I feel bad because you guys have like
No.
you were telling me you had a bunch of them and I was like, oh, okay.
Well, here, I'll take off, and then Misty, you want number 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I heard that the creator of the umbrella was just going to call it Brella, but he hesitated.
Wah, wah, wah.
Hold on. All right, what you got, Misty?
Okay. How much does a chimney cost?
How much does a chimney cost? I don't know.
Nothing. It's on the house.
I remember Sam told me this one a
Okay, that
while
was-
back.
Oh my God,
I should have
yeah.
remembered that one.
Good job, Misty.
All right, what you got,
That was
Paige?
great. All right, so this is for a male, but I'm going to say it anyway. I asked my wife if I am the only one she's ever been with. Have you heard this?
I
one?
told you this one on the last podcast.
Oh, shit. I was trying to remember who told me this. I thought it was Ryan.
She did say that.
We have
Then
this
I'm
one recorded.
then I'm
I
gonna
literally
steal
told
your
you.
joke then. I'm gonna Michael you.
All right, you got to say it all over again. we got to hear the punchline.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, reset. What was it, Paige?
I asked my wife if she's the only one I've ever been with.
Yeah.
She said yes. All the others were 9s and 10s.
Oh my God.
It's a great joke. I just think it's hilarious that I told it
Yeah.
literally on the last podcast.
I was like, I heard this recently, so I'm gonna say this one.
Oh, that's
Oh,
funny.
that's funny.
I just Michael to you, Michael.
Yeah. All right.
You're welcome.
After all these years, it finally came back around
Yeah.
and hit me. I'm notorious for stealing people's jokes. Ryan does this all the time. He
Like
will-
your umbrella joke.
Well, so Ryan will tell a joke, but it's usually low key. Like he'll say it kind of low, and then nobody really hears it. So I'll just repeat it in a louder voice, and then people will laugh, and then Ryan will be like, "Huh, that was my joke."
Yeah, that's exactly.
All right, so here's number 2. You guys know Spanish, right? You know how to count in Spanish?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Spanish magician told everyone that he would disappear before the count of 3. He said, 1, 2, and then he left without a tres. I'm giving myself applause for that
Okay. That one was good.
one. All right, Misty, you're up.
Okay, what does peanut butter and hookers have in common?
Are we going to have to put an explicit tag on this podcast? Okay, peanut butter and hookers. What is it?
They spread for bread.
I like it.
I was
good.
afraid Courtney told you that one because that's the one I told her last weekend, and she laughed so hard.
That was a good
Yeah.
one.
I like it.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
All right, Paige, she got number 2.
All right. My grandfather was always terrible until I had my first child. Now he's a great grandfather. That's what I thought too.
All right, do we want to go for number 3 or do we call it there? You got another one, Misty?
I don't know. I mean, I have more, but those were good.
All right, let's quit while we're ahead.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. These people came for other things.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we need to introduce Misty. Misty, I know you've been with Boot Heel CrossFit now for quite a while. You're one of the OGs.
Yeah.
I know you started with us back in 2016, wasn't it? December of 2016?
Yeah. Late in the year.
So you've been at this for a while. You actually got started with us when we were back in our dungeon warehouse gym. No air conditioning.
Yes. No AC. That is right.
I know that was the biggest thing for me in this new location is I wanted to have some AC in the summertime because it would get sweltering hot over there.
I never worked out in the afternoons or whatever. The mornings weren't
missed it.
too bad, but yeah, I bet it did.
Well, the mornings I honestly thought were almost worse because all the mosquitoes. It would
yeah.
be so hot and sticky that you'd have to open the doors. But then we were right there next to the pond, and so you just have a swarm of mosquitoes that would come through. So at least in the afternoon, it was only 1,000 degrees.
Yeah.
At least you didn't have the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have to figure something out. It's not much better in here this last couple days.
Well, we are in that weird transition time of year right now to where,
The
I mean,
air
it's
is
only
just
like,
thick.
it's only like 70 degrees, but it feels super hot and sticky because it's just humid. And we're used to it being cold. So,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
With
Once
this 10-month winter we had.
Oh my
yeah.
goodness.
Once we actually get into the hot stuff, then that air conditioner will make it feel way cooler in here than it is outside.
Yeah. And the wind's been blowing like crazy.
Yeah. Well, Misty, what got you into CrossFit?
Well, I started CrossFit because my husband at the time was doing CrossFit.
You're still
He's still your husband, though, right?
Yes. Today's our 10-year anniversary.
Applause
That's
for
awesome.
That's a really long time.
10-year
That is a long
anniversary.
time.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks. So he started CrossFit because Willie
Yeah.
told him about it. And so then I started, and I was, so I started in December of 16, and in March of 16, I had just had a really bad car accident. And so I was like, we'll give it a shot, because I just had to learn to re-walk and all this stuff. So I think I was just wanting to take on as like a physical therapy type thing, like I was wanting to move and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what got me started.
Keeps them moving in.
Yeah, I remember working with you there in the beginning when you first got into it, and it's amazing to think about how your mobility and your strength has improved since then.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I remember it was a struggle, and that was just from an external perspective. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you've come a long way. If y'all don't know Misty, this girl is strong. She is strong
Yeah.
and fast. So you've really come a long, long way. That's amazing.
Yeah, my focus now on exercise has shifted more to, like, I want to do things right, because, like, I was just trying to get through the movements then, like, when I first started, like, I'm just going to attempt to try to do this. Or,
Yeah.
I'm going to see how well I do at this, but now I really I want to do it right, because I do want to be stronger. I want to be faster and, all that stuff. So.
Well, I know you've got a great story to tell. I know you've been through a lot, and so like, where do you start when you're telling your story?
Oh man,
I'm kind of throwing you a really open-ended
Yeah,
jumping off point there, but where would you like to
Start
start?
from the day you were born.
that literally is what I do, because in order to kind of understand my story, I have to tell like my background. And so, so growing up, both of my parents were addicts. And so there was no, and I'll kind of tie CrossFit into this. So there was no like health wise, like we just did whatever. There was very unhealthy lifestyles. So I was introduced to drugs at a very young age. And so I started using them myself at like 13. I was really young. Yeah, really young. And at that time, I was just trying to escape and control already at a very young age. And then the older I got, the more easier it was to kind of get into that unhealthy lifestyle myself. So I took a lot of different paths and done a lot of stupid stuff. Yeah. So, and CrossFit has really helped me mentally with a lot of that stuff. A lot, because we all have trauma to some extent, and things that we need to deal with, and how we deal with those things are really important.
Absolutely. So, when you say you wanted to escape and control, was it just kind of your home life that you were trying to escape, or were you just trying to figure out really like, you just feel like your world kind of spins around you and you don't really know what to do, so you just wanted something that you could grab a hold of and manipulate on your own?
Yeah. I just, as a young child, so I was hurt, and I didn't know how to deal with that. And so that is what I was shown, drugs and, just whatever.
That's how it was dealt with in your home.
Yeah.
So that's just all you knew kind of from the start.
And like I said, I could control that. So I could control what I done, how it made me feel, Yeah. So that's what I was doing.
Well, so then how did that transition into your adulthood? I mean, I'm sure with a foundation like that, that's a tricky start to life.
Yeah.
So tell us where you went from there.
Yeah. So, so my addiction was kind of like, I hadn't done drugs all my life since I was 13. I had spurts in there to where, things were good and I didn't feel the need to do drugs. And so, I'm surprised I even graduated high school, guys. I'm not going to lie, because there was times where I was like so pilled out. I was crawling up the stairs at school. Yeah, it was crazy. But then I met my husband, Jonathan, and that's just not something they done. And that's what drew me to him and his family. And so I didn't need to then, but then life happens and you get unhappy and things happen. And so I didn't want to deal with it anymore. Yeah. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to go do this because I can. And so,
yeah, when like kids come into the picture, or every marriage has stress to a certain point. And so you feel like maybe things were just kind of, again, spinning out of your control.
Yeah, and I'm a very all or nothing person, and I'm trying to change that. But I'm a very all or nothing person, so like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it big, and that's not a good thing. So.
Yeah.
Well, since it's yours and Jonathan's 10-year anniversary, you want to give us a quick story of how you guys met?
Yeah, so we met through he's my brother-in-law now, actually. He was talking to one of my friends in high school, and he was like, hey, I got this friend, hook him up with one of your friends type deal. And so we started talking and texting. Literally, we hadn't even met in person, and that was like all she wrote. And I was living with my cousin at the time, and I was still in school, and he was working at Nestle Purina.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so he would work like second shift, 3 to 11. And so I think the first time we met, he actually came over to my cousin's house and spent the night with me. Yeah, and so that was all she wrote.
Yeah.
You won't catch any judgment from us.
No.
We've all done
Yeah. Yeah, so
10 years happily married. No.
Yeah.
So, you guys have been together since since you were in high school? Awesome. Aw.
Yeah. And I
Isn't
mean,
it
we've
weird
had
to
a,
think that much time has passed since high school.
yeah. Yeah. We, yeah, I can't, we went through a few years there where like we almost didn't make it. You know, we did file for a divorce just because, it was at the time the best option. You know, like I was in my addiction, and you know, like we both did things that were not good for our marriage. And so which is, they dismissed that in the courts this month, so that's good.
Yeah, I
That's
saw you had
awesome.
kind of an anniversary that
Yeah.
happened there just a month or so ago. I saw a post on Facebook.
Yeah, that is so great. And you just
Yeah.
finished all your finals. for
Yeah,
school.
school's out.
Yay.
So that's cool.
That's super great. How much more do you have for is it like a certification or a degree? Like essentially
Yeah, a
the same thing?
certification. So one more semester, so I'll be out for the summer, and then in the fall I'll finish out.
Yay. That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I don't know, how would you classify? I know some people talk about addiction and they talk about recovery. Do you have any labels that you put on things like that? Do you talk about recovery, or do you talk about going through any recovery processes or anything?
Yeah, so I mean, I do say that I am in recovery
Okay.
because I am recovering not just from years of drug addiction, but years of life issues as well. And those to me are really more important than the drug addiction, because the life issues are what led me to the drug addiction. And I mean, yeah, I was addicted at one point, but I don't say, hey, I was an addict, or, you know, like I am an addict or whatever. I was addicted, but I am in recovery.
Yeah.
So
It doesn't define you. Yeah.
No.
And you went to a really great recovery, what's the word I'm looking for? Place.
Yeah. I don't even know what you would really call it.
I don't
It
know
was
what to call
like
it.
technically a ministry. So
Uh-huh.
it was a faith-based recovery center for women, and it was a year long, and I did not want to do it. I'm telling you, I did not want to do it, but I started experiencing schizophrenic episodes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that was torture. And I still kind of like have some effects from that, but I have just learned how to what am I looking for? So like maneuver
recognize
those.
it when
Yes.
it kind of starts to pop
Yeah.
up.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So, but when I started having that, I was like, look, after like 2 months of that, I was like, you know, I don't know the difference between reality and not, and it's intermingling, and I don't like it. And so then I was like, you know, I don't know if it is the drugs, because I know the drugs are probably some of it, or what, but that's when I went, and I didn't have like my awakening, like my, you know, because I think that when you're in that process, like you have like just this one like aha moment where you're like, okay, this is like my transition out of this, until about 9 months. Surprisingly.
Wow. What was it? What was that moment?
Well, I had actually got in trouble in the ministry because we're not allowed phones or anything. We get like a visit on Sundays and a 10-minute phone call. That's all you get. And they you go out on like work release every day. And so I would call my husband on the phone when I was out, and they found out about it. And so I got what they call like a 30-day blackout. So I wasn't allowed any any visitors or anything, and a 30-day extension. And that hurt me more than anything because I was like, I'm just so ready to be home to my family. And they're like, well, we're going to tack on 30 more days. And so I was like, oh no. And then I lost my dad 2 weeks into that. And so I wasn't allowed to be around family. You know, like I had the option to go to like his memorial or whatever. But just in that moment, I was just shattered because I had already lost my mom in 2017. And that was very traumatic. And then, you know, like I just wasn't ready for that, you know, like because he was in recovery himself, and I just wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And so I was just broken down of
Yeah.
everything. And at that moment I was like, okay, it's going to be okay. And so that's when I started.
Mm-hmm. Did you kind of identify that could be like a triggering experience for you if you had gone to the memorial? Like,
Yeah,
do you
so
think
I
you-
chose not to, just because I did not want to subject myself to anything unhealthy. And more importantly, I didn't want to subject my family to that, because I had already done that myself. And that was a big conflict
Yeah.
in my family, because, you know, like if you don't get involved with that type of stuff, you don't want to be around it,
Right.
obviously, you know. And so I was just like, you know, he's getting cremated. It's not like they're having a service,
Right.
so I'm just going to choose not to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You made a good decision for yourself and your family. Just best
Yeah, I'm
all
pretty
around.
pleased with it. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like I have any regrets or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, what would you say you really gained from your experience at the ministry?
my mentality and the peacefulness I have about myself. Like, I don't have any, you know, turmoil or anything, you know, like festering up, and how to deal with life. You know, I feel like I can process it a little bit more slowly, because before, like when things would happen, I would mentally just spaz out. And
Yeah.
so, like, I'd explain it like, you know, when you're looking at a TV of static, like that's how I would go,
Yeah.
you know, and I would stay in that for a while,
Yeah.
which is not healthy.
Yeah.
So.
I can tell a huge difference in your demeanor and personality from like a couple of years ago to now. Like it's not really noticeable, but then again it is.
Yeah,
like if
I
you
was
get
crazy.
frustrated in some sense, like I've noticed before, you know,
Yeah.
you just kind of like shut down and not really like talk about it. Now you're open, you're willing to talk,
Yes.
you're calm, cool, collected, like just it's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
why I thought it would be really good to get you on and tell your story, because you do seem really calm and collected about it. And I've seen some of the videos that you put on Facebook kind of talking about things, and I thought it's a really great thing to be able to talk about these things.
Yeah.
And, you know, not only for your own mental well-being, but for other people to see it as well, because, you know, I've seen that so many times just in the short time I've been alive, that I think a lot of the torment that people carry around is thinking that they are the only ones dealing with it. And
Right.
so I think it's so important to talk about these things, like I say, not just for yourself, but for those of us around as well.
Yeah.
That is why I am so open about it, because regardless to what it is, you know, we've all dealt with something,
Yeah.
and it's very important to learn how to deal with it in a healthy manner.
Right.
Because that, I mean, like I said, that's not something that I was taught growing up. I was not taught how, you know, what healthy is in
Yeah.
that aspect.
Well, as far as your experience at the ministry, what I'm actually really interested in this, because I wonder, do you think it was the separation from the lifestyle that you were leading before that maybe helped the most, or was it anything that anybody told you while you were there? Was it any
No.
kind of curriculum, or do you think it was just a physical separation?
Yeah, so it was faith-based, and I think the spiritual part of it was really big for that. But it was just being able to unplug
Yeah.
from everything in life. So we were not allowed to watch TV. We were not allowed to listen to any type of music except Christian, you know, and stuff like that. So just being able to like unplug from everything, because the world is so full of distractions.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
Oh my
many.
God, yes.
Yeah, and so I think that was it, because I spent a lot of time meditating in my thoughts and then processing those, because, you know, when, like on Saturdays, that was like our free day. So we could sleep till 9, and then we ate breakfast in between then and noon, whatever time the girls got it ready. And then I think we napped from 1 to 3. If you could fall asleep, I could never fall asleep. So I just like enjoyed the quiet, because it was like
Yeah.
40 women in one house. And so, yeah, a lot of time meditating, because then you have time to think about, what led up to this.
Yeah.
And there was a lot that led up to this. And where kind of did I go wrong?
Was this your first experience with kind of self-exploration or introspection?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, it was. Because the idea of it sounds good. It sounds good. Like,
It's hard as hell.
Yes, it really is. So just having to be forced. I was just forced into that. But I knew at 3 months, because like I said, I did not want to go.
Yeah.
I was fighting it for a really long time. But at 3 months, so I got home visits every 3 months, and I got 24 hours or something like that. And we stayed in Jonesboro at a hotel, and I knew then, I was like, I ain't ready for this. Take me back. Take me back.
Aww.
So, yeah, just mentally then I knew. And so, the next 3 months were easier because I knew that I had more to work on in myself before I could be the mom and the wife and just the person in general that I should be. So,
Was there okay, so I know there had to be some, but what kind of struggles did you deal with coming out of it finally after a year and a month? Or was it?
Yeah.
just
So,
a year?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you get that extension for a year and a month.
Yeah.
And then when you do get back to it, when you are able to plug back in, what kind of struggles did you deal with at that point?
So I came home right as COVID was, I don't know, people were freaking out.
I forgot
Yeah.
about the timeline of this thing. Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, we kind of knew, they would tell us a little bit because they kept us from going places and all that stuff. But, when I got home, the shelves were clear. People were...
The world had fallen apart.
Yeah, stopped. It, halted. And
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I
Wow.
remember going to the dollar store and shelves were clear. People were wearing gloves. People were wearing masks. And I was like, what the hell is going on?
Came out to a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And to not really have any communication about what's going on.
Yeah,
and
I
you
was
just
just
are
like,
what?
Well, it
Yeah,
was shocking
people are getting
enough.
sick. What?
Yeah.
It
Y'all
was
are acting
shocking
crazy.
enough
Yeah.
to people that actually had constant access to the media
Right.
because it came on so fast. But I can't imagine not even having that short little ramp up that we did.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
so, and I didn't have to work or anything when I first got home. And so I just chilled at the house with the kids and kind of take it easy because I was already trying to process jumping right back into where I left off because, like you said, the world didn't stop.
Yeah.
I stopped, but the world and everything else didn't. And so we just kind of chilled out for a minute, I did kind of get overwhelmed because my kids are needy. Kids are needy. And
Yeah.
so, just trying to, and that's what I've spent a lot of my time home doing is just caring for them the way that they need to be cared for because I didn't do that before. I was very selfish and I neglected them in a sense. And so I really just tried to focus on being a good mom and giving them what they deserve. So,
Yeah, that's awesome.
but yeah, other than that, I not too long after that went back to work because after being home for a few months, I was like, look.
Y'all kids are crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I started working and I have a really good job. So
That's great. Cool. What kind of people let's see. So you've been doing basically a meal service for the school, and do you do anything else with that, or just that and doing schoolwork right now? And I know you have been a hairstylist in the past. Do you dabble in that any?
yeah.
here
So
and
I
there?
make house calls.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do have a few clients that I'll go to their house and cut their hair, color it or whatever. But that for myself is just not a healthy environment. The freedom that comes with being a hairstylist, I can't handle that. I need structure. That is
Yeah.
one thing that I realized that I need structure because on my own, things get messy. So, yeah, I'm
That's a
punching the
cool
time clock.
recognition, though. Yeah, that you, having that structure just kind of shows a sense of direction, at least something that way you don't feel like you have to come in and get a handle on everything from an outside.
And that's why I like CrossFit, because there is structure. And Michael, I will tell you this. I probably told you this before, but you are the only person in my life to make me feel bad about being late.
I do remember you saying that years ago.
Yeah. Like, I think I was coming into like an 8:15 class or something, and I don't know what you said. I cannot remember.
Hey, Misty, didn't think you were coming today.
Yeah, I just remember feeling so bad about freaking being late. And I was like, well, never again. And so now I'll show up like 10 minutes early to class. I'm like, I don't even care. I got to use the bathroom. So, yeah.
Well, when you told me that story years ago, I don't remember exactly the situation, but I'm pretty sure it was something pretty low key. Like, I don't think I said anything shitty at all. I think it was just like, oh, hey.
Some people just take it differently.
Yeah.
Just said, good to see you, Misty, or something like that.
But I needed it, though.
I can totally see, I don't know, in retrospect, that changed the way that I talk to people, because I would have never thought that it came off shitty, but like you said, I guess it was good for you.
Yeah, I think it was like really low key or something. I don't know, but I was like, yeah. So, but I used to just be okay with being late.
Just strolling in whenever the hell you want.
Yeah, but that is a respect thing. That's how I look at it now. Like, it's your time that I am either respecting or disrespecting. And I wouldn't want that for myself. So, like I said, I'm gonna show up 10 minutes early.
Right. Right.
So
Michael's too nice now. I think you scared him out of it, because he turns the clocks back so that way he does it for himself. I know, but I'm like, nope, 8:15, we're going. Lay down.
Well, you gotta understand, I'm 7+ years deep into this at this point, and so like, I think what you're talking about, Paige, is kind of just for my own sanity.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it is stressful. It's super stressful trying to get a class together, and like when there's a whole bunch of people showing up late, and like, I don't know.
You just got to say, hey.
Yeah, there's a whole rabbit hole there.
Yeah, you guys are so dedicated.
I could go in and talk about and try to explain, but really it just comes down to, like, it's easier for me to just have a specific time that I'm going to start no matter what. And so I put a little buffer in there. So
Right on. It's our personality differences there. Literally, like 2 weeks ago, everybody showed up like 5 or 10 minutes late. And I was like, hey, guys, do we need to make this class at 8:30? And they're all like, no, 8:15 is good. I'm like, okay, let's be here at 8:15 next time.
Yeah.
Well, and, you know, I guess from that perspective, I used to give people way more shit about coming in late. And then finally, I just came to the conclusion that I'd rather people show up late than not show up at all.
Yeah, that's true.
And, you know, I know that there's a whole lot to unpack there as well. But yeah, we got way off track.
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all. Anybody listening, we just went off
There's
track.
your lesson on time management.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, let's see. Oh, I was going to hop back and kind of touch on the idea of structure. I think that's one that I think a lot of people don't really appreciate as much as they should, because I think that's so super important for most people. You know, certainly there are some people that just thrive off of chaos, and they do better when they're completely on their own, just dangling strings and stuff like that. But
I'm imagining all the hippies I met in Costa Rica. All these people that lived up in the hills, they were just like,
those people
whatever.
are certainly out there.
Yeah.
But I definitely think those people are fewer and further between than what we really like to admit.
Right.
Because most people really do benefit from structure, whether they realize it or not.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's one of the things I've certainly learned for myself as I've gotten older, is how valuable structure really is, and how, you know, I'll get my own self in some sticky situations if I'm just left up to my own devices. And so I need people to hold me accountable. And this is, you know, what you mentioned before about working as a hairstylist. You know, I identify with that, because as a business owner, you know, I don't necessarily have any one person telling me that I'm late or that I have missed this deadline, but I definitely need people to hold me accountable for things, because, you know, I've got tons of irons in the fire, and so it's easy for me to forget stuff. And I don't know, I'm going off on another tangent there, but structure is important. It really is. And I don't know, that one hit me.
Yeah.
I wanted to give you props for recognizing that.
And I learned that I was an angry person. And then, like, I don't do well with change. at all. And it would be change that like is out of my control. Like, okay, for instance, at work, my boss would be like, okay, well, today we're going to do it this way. And I don't know what it is. And I'm still learning.
Flame you up.
Yes. And I'm still learning on how to deal with this and why I get that way. But I'll just feel my blood boiling. And I'm like, why? Why?
Yeah.
I don't
It
want
was working
to.
fine the way it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that is something else that I don't, that's one of my character flaws that I do not like. But
I feel you, Misty. I'm like that too.
I don't know what it is, but it makes me want to get aggressive. I'm
Yeah.
like, I
all
don't
my
like
friends
it.
used to like to push my buttons and stuff because they knew that I would get fired up, and people still do that to me all the time. But
Yeah.
I have a better control over it now because dating Ryan, he's a man child, so my patience has like excelled like a much
Yeah.
better, and he thinks I'm bad still. I'm like, man, you should have known me 5 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
Well, okay, I got this book in the mail like 2 weeks ago. I guess the author of the book mailed this out with some kind of a letter just saying, it's world's been tough. I'd like to send you this book, blah, blah, blah. I don't know who this is.
Just a random people.
Random person
Oh,
who sent
wow.
me this book. But what you said a minute ago made me think of this book. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but the name of it is called The Magic of Surrender and Finding the Courage to Let Go. And I think what you were talking about with, your boss coming in and saying we're going to do it differently today, like that's a really valuable one for me to work on too, because I'm kind of the same way. I think we're
Yeah.
probably all similar personality types here, but there's definitely some times where you kind of just have to let things go. Like not everything's under your control. I think we're circling back to what you talked about right out of the gate. But there's something inherently strong about letting go of the things that you can't control.
Right.
And finding some ways to get your blood to stop boiling
Yeah.
when things are changing.
I just have to be like, okay,
Right.
okay.
There's,
need to read this
there's so
book.
much to be said. There's so much to be said for either like just saying no, I don't have time for that, or I can't do that, or okay, that's fine. If that's what we're gonna do, that's what we're gonna do, or like not caring what other people think about you or worrying about what other people are thinking about you. Just there's so much to be said for that, and that all of that just kind of goes along with letting go. Just
Yeah.
let it, like nobody cares. Nobody's thinking about you as much as you think, as much as you're thinking about them thinking about you. Nobody wants to walk all over you that much.
Yeah.
It's just, they may say some things and you're taking it so personally, but really it has nothing to do with that. And there's just so much to just letting go.
Yes. And it's a very powerful thing, but just getting to that point is hard. It's a lot easier said than done.
Right. Yeah. It just takes a little bit of practice every day. Like it doesn't happen overnight, but little by little.
Well, Misty, do you have any advice for somebody that might be touched by what we're talking about right now? Maybe they've gone through something similar. Maybe they're struggling with something. I know it doesn't necessarily have to be addiction, but to identify with these things we're talking about. But do you have any advice based on everything you've gone through, and then kind of the strides you've made forward over the last couple of years?
And I'll just use like life issues, like you said, because there's so much more to just life, but to reach out to somebody, like whether it be myself, I'm here for anybody, ears, whatever, but because you're not alone, and there is someone that you will, I guess, like vibe with, you'll click with, that you'll be more open for them to help you in your journey, because you're not alone. And I wouldn't say like you can't do it by yourself, because ultimately you're the only person that can, like do whatever it is that you're trying to do, but you're going to need help. So reach out. You're going to need resources, and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a really big one. And I know I already kind of mentioned that, but just it's so easy to kind of self-isolate with whatever you're going through and feeling like you're the only one dealing with it or the only one having these feelings. And I remember going through that when I was younger, and I still get caught up in that trap sometimes. So that's a message that I really like talking about, is We need
Ask
each
for
other.
help.
Yeah, we need each other. And, just we need to be more vulnerable. We need to talk about the things that are
Yes.
bugging us. And, I definitely recognize that American society is getting a whole lot better about accepting these ideas and not just trying to push them all under the rug and hide mental health issues and things like
shun 'em,
that.
yeah.
But, there's centuries of
Yeah.
things that we're working to undo right now. So you can't just expect it to all be going away really quickly. But
Yeah, it's
I
definitely
like
not
talking
gonna
about
happen
this
overnight.
stuff. It's super important to recognize that, we're in this together. We need each other.
Yeah, and that's why I love you guys. I know, like, my time has been very sporadic. Like, I'll go, whatever, long time without coming in or whatever. But the people inside of these four walls are awesome.
Aw.
Like, I have met some of the best people with
Yeah.
the best hearts.
There are some
Right
amazing
here.
people in
Yes.
I
there.
agree. That's one of the things I like about CrossFit is it attracts good people.
Yeah,
It attracts great people.
for sure.
Yeah. You guys are awesome. And y'all are so dedicated. We were just talking, me and Jonathan were talking about that. Like, you've had this for how long, and you're thriving. You're doing good for yourself, and you guys you can tell that you put your heart into it. And so
This is a collective effort. It's
Yeah,
not
it
me.
is.
I promise you that. Like, there's no way we'd be here if it wasn't for Paige, if it wasn't for Courtney, if it wasn't for all of you guys. It's just collective
I
energy
like-
working towards a generally a general goal in the
Right.
same direction.
We don't brag on our members enough, but we have some kick-ass people around here.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
I like Paige because she holds me accountable. She expects the best
She'll
out
still
of
give you shit when you show up
Yeah,
late.
yeah, I know.
Misty has not been late. Like I haven't
Yeah.
seen. I haven't seen you be late. And
Yeah, I'll roll in with my teeth unbrushed, crud still in my eye. Here 10 minutes early, going to the bathroom, but I'm here. I'm not late.
That's right. Misty walks in. She's like, "Hey, what's up?" Walks straight back to the
Yeah.
Then she comes out, hangs out, talks for 5 minutes, and
Yeah, time to go.
get on with it.
Well, Misty,
Yeah.
I'm super proud of you. I really,
Yeah.
I know. It sounds like you're proud of yourself at this point in your life, but I still want to make it really clear that I'm proud of all the progress you've made over the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, I am. I mean, I don't like to brag too much, but I am proud of myself because it's, when you do heal from things, like that makes you feel good because
Right.
you're no
Yeah.
longer,
As you should. Yeah.
you're no longer having to deal with that. And like I said, now I can be a good mom. I can give them, what I didn't have
Yeah.
growing up. And I try not to get too wrapped into that either because I've caught myself since I've been home, like,
Yeah. You want them to appreciate it, and you want them to understand how to appreciate it, but they're children still.
Yeah.
They may not.
And
know
I
that.
have to take care of myself before I can take care of them. And, before I know it, it's been like a week and I haven't been in the gym. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
what is happening? And so,
Yeah.
Well, I was actually talking with Kim last night about this exact topic about you've got to take care of yourself in order to take care of anybody else. And I told her, Kim, you need to come on the podcast and we'll just make the whole podcast about this topic right here because she's got a great story.
That'd be awesome.
In regards to this. But let's go ahead and touch on that. I mean,
Yeah.
I know she can dig deep into her story, but, that is just such an important thing that gets glossed over in our culture and society as well is, we shame the idea of selfishness. But you can't be selfless until you take care of yourself first.
Right.
You've got to be selfish in order to be selfless.
Yep.
And Misty, you already touched on it, but I like the analogy of being in an airplane in the event of a cabin depressurization.
Yeah.
They tell you've got to, the oxygen masks will drop down. You've got to put on your mask first before you can start helping the other people around you. Because if you pass out, then your kids are going to pass out and then everybody's going to die.
Yep.
So
right.
that's another one we need to talk a lot more about. Everybody wants to be there for the people that they love and they want to help the people around them. But if you're drowning, you can't save the person next to you that's drowning.
Right, right. And this, unfortunately, this a lot of times happens to the sweetest, most
Yes.
innocent, give all, do everything for everybody else kind of people. they catch themselves with their heads underwater because they're doing so much for other people and not trying to take a little bit of time for themselves. Like you have to be selfish, like you said, before you can be selfless. It's very, very important.
We need a better relationship with the idea of selfishness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so ways I have practiced that is I've really tried to make sure I'm getting at least 7 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
I hear you guys talk about that a lot.
Love it.
Yeah, so I average that because I don't have any problem sleeping.
Yeah.
So that's good. And then my screen time on my phone, like we said, the world is so full of distractions. And that's why sometimes I'm like, why did I download TikTok?
Yeah.
Why did I do this to myself? But trying to get my screen time under, I would really like it to be under an hour, but like that is... I wouldn't say impossible, but it is really hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's harder than you think.
Yeah.
It is.
Before we had the screen time tracker, we would have been like, oh, yeah, I don't spend an hour on social media. And then all of a sudden you open that thing up and realize you have 3 hours for the day. And you're like, I've been at work all day. How did I even accumulate that?
Yes.
Man, it racks up quick.
Yeah. And focus on my nutrition because I think I've talked to both of you guys about this, but I struggle, I guess, with a food addiction too. I love the way food tastes and it has been a comfort for me. And so just listening to my body and, you know, like instead of indulging on a whole thing of Debbie cakes, you know, like what is a better option and what is going to satisfy me just the same. And that's a journey too. Like you know, because growing up, like I said, there was nothing, you know, what we ate McDonald's, you know, a lot. And so, and I want my kids to be healthy. You know, I want us all to live long lives. And so that has been another journey I'm on. And that, I think I include that in my self-care because that's important.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome.
For sure. That's
So,
awesome.
yeah. Try not to binge because sometimes I do binge eat. And I think we talked about that, Michael, like recognizing why am I doing this?
Right.
Yeah.
And in the moment, like it's very hard too, but like in the moment you have to like take a mental check. Like when I had dieted down a lot a few years ago, like as soon as I was kind of coming out of that, like I could sit down and eat an entire box of cereal probably because I had restricted so much. And so like all of a sudden you're just like, you want to like go off the rails and do everything. And so it's important to like understand to strike that balance. Like you said, all or nothing people find that really hard to strike that balance. And so it's a continuous process that you really have to learn to navigate. Like you can't 100% restrict things, even though you're an all or nothing person and you think that's what works best for you. Probably not a good idea. It's not a healthy mindset because you need to learn how to kind of juggle both things and, you know, enjoy a little bit of this and then also eat your vegetables and also eat your protein and yada yada. And like it's a hard thing to do.
It is hard.
And just like how you had to spend a year away from everybody, unplugged, do no association, like that's also something that's going to take a long time to work on.
It is a process because, I mean, I used to be almost 300 pounds. And I'm not, you know, like, obviously I'm not there now, but I'm not happy, satisfied with my weight. And there's so much more than just coming in to work out because I can come in and work out, but if I'm not eating right, then I'm just, you know, rolling that over. So,
yep.
Oh, health and fitness and diet is such a continuum because, you know, I think a lot of people get too wrapped up in the idea of an end goal.
Yeah.
As opposed to thinking about progress and the relationship with what it takes to just live a healthier life.
Right.
And a lot of times people's ideas of fitness isn't aligned with health.
That's a whole other rabbit hole for sure.
It's their idea of fitness is actually very, very skewed because it's not a lot of times when you look at someone, especially on social media, you look at somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't be that healthy. They are so healthy. They're like, no, they're probably really screwed up in the head because they're literally living their life on Instagram for Instagram.
Let me throw out a question to ponder for a second. Why this might be an insulting question, I don't know, but why do we categorize physical health and mental health as two separate things? Is that an insulting question? Because you can't have one without the other, really. You can't have physical health without mental health. Because
That's true.
all in all, and I mean, that's just a big philosophical rabbit hole in itself, but
I don't see them as that separate.
they can't be, in my mind. They can't be separate. They've got to be.
I think sometimes maybe the focus gets shifted onto one or the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, they really, I guess maybe like maybe a little bit of the health at every size community might be focused on just the mental health side of it and not really thinking about the physical side of it if they're really, really far on that direction.
Yeah.
And then same as, like physical health, people that are too far in that direction are neglecting their mental health.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of
I guess once
combo.
once you get to the wings, the extremes, you can find the problems with it. But
Yeah.
anyway, I guess I just now thought of that. So you caught my the immature idea on recording. I need to think on that and see how I feel about it.
Well, I think too the reason why it might be that way, like it might, some people might see them as separate, is because there's in the world you don't. Like, I wouldn't think, okay, I'm going to go to the gym and this is going to help my mentality. Now I do. Yeah. But before, like, there are mental health facilities everywhere. And what they work on is more of, like, your chemistry in your body, and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's because before I embarked on my journey, I saw them as separate.
Yeah.
So
this is an interesting one. I'm going to think on this.
Yeah, it is. And I would think a lot of mental health facilities are now implementing physical activity into their approach, and so it's kind of becoming that.
Yeah,
it's intertwining a lot more than it used to, and a lot of times now, more caregivers, more mental health specialists are shifting focus away from like trying to put a Band-Aid in the form of a drug on it and more into physical, like, okay, are you doing this, and are you doing everything you can before we give you this pill kind of thing.
Well, I mean, speaking on meditation, that's working on your relationship with your thoughts and your emotions. So that's not a chemical imbalance in any way, shape, or form.
It can make chemical shifts.
Well, yeah, you're right. I'm spitballing brand new ideas here.
Yeah, just like physical activity, just literally like, just getting horizontal, laying down can cause your hormone levels to shift a little bit and cause different things to just little subtle changes in the way that your mind perceives things, just a little tiny bit. Taking a power nap can turn you into a whole new person in 15 minutes.
Yes. Yeah, it can.
Well, where do we go from there? Misty, you got any more to say? Any nuggets of wisdom or any advice for anybody before we sign off?
Just, I don't know. Like, I love people and I want to help people, because I want to see anybody just be a better person. I wouldn't say like be a better person like you're a shitty person now, but like, like just to strive to be the best you can be.
Yeah.
And you have to do that with like-minded people.
Yeah.
So that's why you should join Boot Hill CrossFit.
Well, thanks for the shout out.
That's great.
So.
Thank you so much for coming on
You're
and sharing
welcome.
that story with us. It was awesome. We're super proud of you.
Thanks.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I love you guys.
Well, how is Jonathan doing? I haven't seen him in a little while. I know I keep up with him on Instagram,
Yeah.
and I know he's working on some kind of a new toy. You guys are
Oh,
building
my
a rock
God.
crawling machine.
Yeah, he
or
actually just left
some
this
kind of
morning.
a 4-wheel drive apparatus.
Yeah, so he's good, just working, and like you said, we ride razors a lot, and we have the bus, the schoolie, that we're working on. But he's good. He just likes his toys,
Yeah.
and so that's what he left to do this morning. Is there's a rock bouncer race over in I don't know, like 3 hours away. So that's what we're doing this weekend.
Oh, that's
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Good time.
Well, that's a hell of a way to celebrate y'all's 10-year anniversary. So I hope you guys have fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that'd
gonna
be
be
great.
fun.
Yeah, you guys look like you're having a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun just getting out and doing things, and you know, we meet a lot of cool people,
Yeah.
you know, out on stuff like that, and the kids love it. My son, he eats it up, and my daughter too. But yeah, it's fun. We do stuff as a family and
That's
all
great.
that fun stuff. So
Awesome.
Well, I hope you guys have fun. Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
thanks.
And like Paige already said, you know, I'm super proud of your journey. And if I don't know, I guess if anybody's got any, if they'd like to chat with you about anything, then maybe they could look you up on Facebook.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
I was trying to think
Or
if I have any other
Mrs.
social
Schulte
media.
are you on Instagram?
Yeah,
Mrs.
I don't really
Schulte.
use Instagram that much, but yeah,
Yeah. Probably for the best.
yeah,
yeah, you can only handle one or two social media.
Yeah.
right.
And you said you're on the TikTok.
TikTok.
Oh my
TikTok
God.
On the
right?
TikTok. Okay,
Yes.
Gramps.
No, I said you're on the TikTok thing now.
Yeah, I do get lost in that. So
Well, I guess we can wrap it up
Yeah.
there. So we got. We need to have you back on a future episode. We
Yeah.
can
That's
talk
great.
about some.
Here's some updates and how
Yeah.
life's going down the road a little bit. It's gonna be
and
cool.
anything. I'll talk about anything.
Hear about your new job once you get all certified. And
Yeah.
all,
See where we're going, what
super
we're doing.
professional.
Yeah.
Well, let's wrap it up there.
All
We'll catch you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Oh, you turned it off.